Looks like we are connected. Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show.
What up, YouTube? Let me straighten my lighting out for YouTube. Very hard to do all this at the last minute. What up, everybody? It's your boy, the World Class Smartass. I'm in the building. Kevin Barnes with Outlaw Radio on a Saturday night. Brilliant Fools should be a very interesting show. I hope everybody's doing well. It is a Saturday night, and I know you're getting dressed to go out. Let us know where you're going. No matter where you go, be careful. We know Milwaukee can be a very dangerous place to live at times, and watch out for the drunk drivers. Watch out for the reckless drivers. Just watch out for yourself. Keep your head on a swivel. Check us out every Thursday night, 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time to 9:30 p.m. Shout out to my sister, Coop Coop. She's not with us tonight.
Shout out, Coop.
She came in last week and represented, did a great job. She had just returned.
Sure.
Shout out to 3041 North.
Shout out.
414-310. I'm sorry, 810-3131. DAMGENT and Brother Dante Chestnut. Pick up KT Killingham's project.
Yep.
If you have a black business that you would like to promote, some kind of event that you want to let the people know about, I'll let your boy, man. Shout out to my sister, Octavia Emanuel, and Black Nurses Rock.
Shout out.
Like I said, shout out to Kamara Carter. The Warrior Report is coming. Hit like, hit share, hit follow. Tell a friend that Outlaw Radio is in the building. We were a little late. Took a little time to get everything going. But
technical difficulties.
We hope to get everything going, man. Welcome. Shout out to you if you are sharing a live, man. And if you are watching the show, we appreciate the support. Make sure you join in. Let us know how you feel about these topics. Let us know what you'd like to talk about. The show is interactive for a reason, right?
Yes.
So, like I said, join in, man. Don't be no square, be aware. Okay. I got my sound on there, all right? What's going on? I'm not alone. I got my host with me. You heard from him briefly when we came in. What's popping, bro?
Man, I can't complain for a middle-aged fella. Feeling all right. You know what I'm saying? We have our libation as we usually do on Saturday nights, man. So, turn up. I'm doing all right.
Right. Yeah. Brother, talk to teach, listen to learn, riding with me tonight. You got anybody else you want to shout out before we get this thing rolling?
Oh, man, you covered it all.
All right, man. I see a lot of people watching. I got some family. I got some friends. Y'all let me know how it's going, man. Let me know how y'all Saturdays go. We had a little bit of warm weather, but it's still not quite summer. It's the Midwest. I can't totally explain it. We do know that the weather here can be quite unpredictable. You just got to bear with it, man. I guess it's like they say, you got to bear and grin it.
Grin and bear it.
Grin and bear it. I'm sorry. You just got to deal with it, man. Like people complain. Just keep a jacket with you, whether you're going out to Jazz in the Park, wherever you're going, you're trying to take your little lady out, show her a good time. Make sure you got a jacket or a sweater or your ass going to be sick on Monday morning, right? So it's a lot going on. We know that we had a great show last Thursday, like I said. It was called F.U. Pay Me. And it was in regards to reparations. So a lot of conversation was had about the show. A lot of people felt a certain way about reparations. And I'll kind of touch on that a little bit. Y'all let me know how y'all feel. I don't say, should we get reparations? I say, how do we do it? I think it's old, and I think it's necessary that we get it done. So, y'all let me know. And the biggest question that came from that show was, how do we do reparations? I do want to clarify this. When I talk about reparations, I'm not concerned about, now this may sound bad to some people, but I'm going to say it anyways because it's Outlaw Radio, and the opinions expressed on Outlaw Radio are solely those of the motherfucker that said it. So know who to be mad at, all right?
Yep.
Now, when I say reparations, I was talking about black people who are the direct descendants of antebellum slavery in this country. I'm not really talking about Jamaicans. I'm not really talking about Africans who come here. I'm not really talking about people from the Dominican Republic or Caribbeans. I'm talking about black Americans who are direct descendants of slavery. I mean, if you could trace your people to them cotton fields down south and those plantations, then something's due your way. Whether it be a check, however we structure it, it should be focused on black people from America. I've long said, I believe black people come from America. Some people agree, some people disagree. I say Africans come from Africa. I say Jamaicans come from Jamaica. And everybody claims their nationality, but we don't have one. So all we can say is that we come from America. So when it comes time for us to get our reparations, it should be for black people from America.
I just don't want to get into where you start having so many stipulations that they get to use that against you, because we know we're dealing with the masters of technology, right? You know what I mean? And deception and lies and deceit. So, you know, what I don't want is get to the point where they can use the stipulations as an excuse, as a reason to not give a portion of Black people the money due to them.
Right. And we'll talk about some of the other places that have received reparations.
Right.
I do have that information for you tonight.
And what stipulations they had to go through.
Well, there's some stipulations for some of the places that have received.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But I'm going to talk about just to paint a picture of this question for those who are still saying, should we or could we or how could we? I want to let everybody know it's not about that. It's about how do we? It's not whether or not we deserve them or if it should be done. It's about how we get them done.
That's right.
That's the most important question we should ask ourselves.
I concur, my brother.
So we'll get to that. But tonight's show, the theme for it is Brilliant Fools. And I said Brilliant Fools because if you look around right now, one of the biggest things that affects the Black community, and in particular in Milwaukee, is piss poor leadership. We have all these experts in office who claim all of these kinds of accolades for all the things that they've done and all these unique methodologies that they apply and all these advances that they made. But yet and still, people of color in this city still sit at the top of the most negative categories in the country. Nothing has really changed. As a matter of fact, Milwaukee has gotten worse. I dare any elected official or leader to tell me this city has gotten better. I'll tell them to their face, it's a goddamn lie. The city has gotten worse. I've been here my whole life. I've seen it go from sugar to shit, from the rooter to the tutor, right? So what you have is you have a bunch of people in office here who are leaders who are inept at their job. I said this many times. Most of our leaders are incumbents, meaning they've been elected over and over and over, and they still suck at their jobs. So we got a bunch of brilliant fools leading our cities. We got a bunch of brilliant fools leading organizations, because if they were not fools, then they'd be able to move things forward. But if you talk to them, yeah, they have education. Yeah, they have experience. Yeah, they have accolades, but they have no progress in what they're doing in terms of people of color improving their quality of life. So I say it's a bunch of brilliant fools. And you'll find often that you got a lot of people up here who want you to come and follow them, but they really have no plan. They really have no structure. They want you to come in. Maybe they want you to pay some dues or some fees, or maybe they just want your name on the roster so it'll look like they're deep. But I'm here to tell you, when it comes to a comprehensive plan, any kind of real legislation, structure, or leadership, they don't have it. So they're brilliant fools.
I think there's a certain a group that absolutely should be called brilliant fools. But when I think you start talking to our city and our state officials, I think to call them fools is even giving them the benefit of the doubt. Because now I don't believe that they're brilliant fools. I think what they are is brilliant liars. I think that they're brilliant enough to go forward and have a comprehensive plan and do some of these things that you mentioned, but I think they have absolutely no interest in doing it. I think it benefits them for it not to get done. And so they know that the people really wouldn't stand for that if they understood that. And so what they do is they become professional liars. And so they make you think that they're trying to solve the problem when in fact they have absolutely no intention of solving the problem. So I think that in addition to being called brilliant fools, you can also call them brilliant goddamn liars.
Shout out to everybody who's watching. I see a bunch of y'all out there, man. We appreciate the support. What you can do is you can go to our YouTube page and subscribe to that as well. God knows we need the supporters. We're struggling on YouTube. Not for quality, because all our shows are there archived, but we just need more numbers, man. YouTube is all about numbers. And there's really no imprint for Milwaukee on YouTube. Look, it makes absolutely no sense for CNN to have to come here and do a documentary on racism in this city when we have enough voices here to express that.
All day.
We don't need CNN and Kamal Bell to come in here and put a Band-Aid on a bullet wound and talk about racism.
Right.
We already know what all of that is. We know what's going on in
we
this
live
city.
here, for sure.
We just got to support our own.
That's right.
Is what we have to
That's
do.
right.
And Outlaw Radio is one of those platforms that needs to be supported.
Yes, sir.
So, you know, when I say brilliant fools, even like I look at our mayor, right? Like he's smart enough to invest all his money with this uptick in hotels that's being built downtown. He's smart enough to be able to procure tax incremental funds to build a trolley and then expand on it. He's smart enough to do all these things, but he's not smart enough to come up with a solution for our public school system. He's not smart enough to come up with some way to assist law enforcement or empower law enforcement to kind of bring the crime down or to deal with the stolies. He's not smart enough to even deal with the water crisis that we have here, because believe it or not, we have a problem with our water. We laugh at Flint. Our water's not that much better than Flint. It's just not brown. Right. We don't even know the extent of it because the city of Milwaukee has yet to comprehensively test the levels. They're trying to get into it, but we don't know how this water has affected our children. We do know that there's some cognitive dysfunction amongst our young people. We do know that the water has had some effect, but he's a brilliant fool, right? And I don't even think he cares, right? Like
that's what he does.
I think he's to the point where he's just said, you know, enough of this shit with these black people, right? Because I don't know if y'all know this, and I want to get everybody's opinion on this, including my brother.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to my Facebook group, the People's News Network.
People's News Network.
The People's News Network is about black issues that are pertinent to grown-up black people. That's why you don't see every now and then there'll be some entertainment news if it's pertinent to black people.
Right.
But it's really not about rap and mixtapes. It's about us reporting out on the things that we should be talking about
real talk
in our communities.
Yes.
But I did put a picture up of Mayor Barrett at Juneteenth Day with a young black man who had on a T-shirt that said "broke ass nigga" on it, right? And I don't know if Mayor Barrett looked at the shirt. I think Mayor Barrett was just kind of down there walking around taking pictures with people. But it was a very bad look for the mayor, if you ask me. And there was people who made comments saying, yeah, that's how he like his black people. Broke ass nigga, ashy and broke and you know, ignorant ass niggas. So I just looked at it and said, damn, bro, you shouldn't even looked at the front of the shirt before you smiling. But that means that we are all kind of faceless to him. Well, it's not even just like, take a picture.
It's a photo op.
Like that T-shirt could have said, fuck Mayor Barrett. I don't think he knew the difference.
Nah.
Because I don't think he even paid attention to that brother. Nah. So what you think about that, man?
Man, I think you're giving him the benefit of the doubt because while you said he was smart, he wasn't smart enough to do some of these things. He was smart enough to take the law enforcement and make it where they don't have to live in the district. So he was smart enough to make it where they can go home and come out of their communities and police us any way they want to, and then go home and have good dinner and don't have nothing to worry about. He was smart enough to, when they found out about the water, he was smart enough to lie about the emails, to lie about the information, and to have to pretend he didn't know with the plausible deniability and say, what? I had no idea, when we know he did because he was telling us about getting filters and whatnot. He was smart enough to redirect money that was supposed to go to our communities, to our schools, to be used for us, and redirect it to where he get to use it for downtown area for his little playland and whatnot. So while again, I think he is brilliant, I don't think he's a fool. I just think he's a liar, and I don't think he cares about the woes of black people at all.
Well, I don't know about the law enforcement part because he really has an issue with morales, and we know that there's always who he wants to place on the Fire and Police Commission versus who they actually want and who the union wants. So there's always a battle with that. But I'm not going to give him any credit for being smart for ignoring the black community. Like I said, I think he's intelligent enough to speak and be able to put a spin on things.
It's called a lie.
He's smart enough to know he can go into a black church when it's time for him to get elected and get some votes. That's about the only thing I'll say he's smart enough to do.
And we dumb enough to let him.
And he's also smart enough to read Mayor Norquist's book, The Wealth of Cities, which you have to read yourself to do that. So, but you know, it's just about how you view our leaders, and do we hold them accountable enough? Are we holding them really? Are we holding their foot to the fire, their feet to the fire about making sure that this city has what it needs to advance, not just part of it, right? Because right now we notice fat cats are winning, right? Like, so if you got paper up here, I'm sure you'd be like, well, I don't really give a shit about poor people in this city, so it doesn't really matter to you anyways. But I think the main thing that we have to realize is a politician is just like the sum of his parts, meaning he's no more important than his constituents. And if he expects his constituents to vote for him or her, then he should serve them. That's the way politics should go.
Sure.
They should be serving leaders. It shouldn't be the other way around.
Well, there's a big gap in the way things should be and the way they are.
Right, right. So, like I said, man, hit like, hit share, hit follow. Welcome to the show.
Yes.
Let us know how you feel about this foolishness. Maybe you got a favorite leader that you actually favor. Maybe you feel like they're doing a great job. Either way go, your opinion is respected on here. Just respect the platform.
Right.
I do have a phone line. People never want to call in, but if you feel like you want to call in tonight, I'll kick that up too. We'll do that. We'll let you speak.
Right.
It's my boy. Talk to Teach with me tonight.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Sister
sir.
Coop ain't with us tonight. I want to say shout out to my brother who hit the highway and headed back south.
All right, Bear.
Thank God that he made it back safely.
Safe travels, bro.
I see my brother Thomas Sherrod, aka Gigolo Jackson. What up, bro? I'm gonna get in touch with you. Jig wants to come on. I actually wanted him to come on because he's a very, very funny individual.
Yeah.
And shout out to Jig. He said he wanted to come last night, but we don't do a Friday show.
Right.
And I didn't call him. So I'm going to call you, bro. I usually got one day where I call everybody I'm supposed to call. I'll get in touch with Brother Gigolo. We'll get him on here so y'all can laugh as hard as I laugh. In the meantime, check out his latest performance at ARJ's in which he tore the house down, man. Very funny brother. Been doing comedy for a long time.
How do we find that?
Well, I put it up on my timeline.
Okay.
Thomas Sherrod is his Facebook name. So, and a lot of people shared it. I'm pretty sure you could find it if you dig for it. I wanted to talk about this reparations thing, right?
Come on.
Because I wanted people to know, and we talked about this. So
yes.
I don't want to keep beating a dead horse, but I do want people to understand. Because there are people who are naysayers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there are people who say, well, we'll never get that, and why should black people get that, and this kind of thing. I want to talk about all the places and all of the people who have actually received reparations,
right?
In the last 50 years,
mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So if we start in 1990, Japanese Americans were given $1.5 billion.
Right.
That's $20,000 a piece.
Wait. Okay. So go ahead. The Japanese were given how much?
$1.5 billion.
$1 billion.
$1.5 billion.
Right.
Actually, it's $1.6 billion.
Okay.
And that's $20,000 a piece, right?
Right.
And if you know about Japanese Americans, you know that they were given this money in regards to being placed in internment camps during World War II. When they attacked Pearl Harbor and, paranoia was running wild, so America said, put their ass in one camp, but they paid them. In 1990, Austria with $25 million was given to Holocaust survivors in Austria. And those were Jewish claims, that survived the Holocaust.
Right, 25.
So we talk about the Holocaust in which 6 million Jews were said to have perished.
Mm-hmm.
We know that the Middle Passage for black people and slavery via colonialism happened. We don't even know how many people of color died, right?
Way more than that. We know it was more than that.
Right. So we know it was more than that.
And did the Jews have to prove direct descendants?
Well, I would guess if you are going to have a claim from Austria, you would have to be able to trace your family to being Austrian in order to get some of that money.
That's it.
In 1988, Canada was given Indians and Eskimos, and I say Native Americans. They were given 250,000 square feet of, miles, 250,000 miles of land. Right. Canada gave them reparations. In 1988, Canada also gave $230 million to Japanese Canadians. Mm-hmm. And I'm guessing these were the ones who had relocated there from the internment camps. 1986, the United States gave $32 million to the Ottawas of Michigan for violating a 1839 treaty. They were given these reparations. Mm-hmm. In 1985, the United States gave $31 million to the Chippewas of Wisconsin. You don't have to, anytime you talk about Native Americans, you don't even have to guess why they were given anything because they were violated so greatly in this country. In 1985, the United States gave $12.3 million to the Seminoles of Florida. Mm-hmm. In 1985, $105 million was given to the Sioux Indians of South Dakota. 1980, the United States, $81 million to the Claymacks of Oregon. Mm-hmm. 1971, the United States gave $1 billion plus 44 million acres of land to Alaskan natives who were supposed to get a settlement, and they were ignored. Their treaty was ignored, so they received this money. 1952, Germany, the country who initiated the Holocaust, gave $822 million to Holocaust survivors, right? Black people who were supposedly free in 1865 to this day have received $0.
So why does it get so complicated when it gets to us, right? All of these people, they recognize the wrongs, right? They rewarded them, not rewarded them, but gave them money for their atrocities that they endured, so on and so forth. But why does it get so difficult when it comes to us? Now, why the brakes come on and we got to figure out, well, how to do it and when and what if, and we can't do it. Why does it get so difficult?
Well, first of all, I think you have to figure out how you're going to do it.
Well, I'm just saying look.
I'm sure some thought given to how it was executed to all these other ways.
I understand, but it wasn't the complexity. It wasn't so difficult. It was a task. They did it and they got it done. Again, what year was this? Because I believe that the slave trade happened before all of these, right?
Well, not all of them.
So we've been due. Okay. So,
not all of them.
Okay. So
because some of them were extremely delayed as well.
Okay.
If you really look at it, I'm pausing because I'm checking my YouTube and I got my super chat on YouTube. So I see clearly Clever in there. I see Thomas Radcliffe. How you doing, brother? How y'all doing, man? I see him. I see y'all in the super chat. My bad. But no,
I would still dare say that the transatlantic slave trade happened before a lot of these things. A lot of the Native Americans and Japanese and so on and so forth. Things.
But when it comes to Native Americans who predated us in this country, I would dare say that a lot of what they went through happened before slaves arrived because they were here first. My point is this.
Well, I would challenge that too, though, because the black people were here already as well. And
allegedly, we don't know that for sure. We know Native Americans were here. We don't know that black people were here.
No, we do know that.
Where does that information come from?
You can Google it.
Tell me the source though. I would think you need concrete proof.
They have absolute concrete proof that there were people here prior and that had traveled from Africa, that the Africans had already mingled with the Native American. As a matter of fact, that was a point I was going to make. That's one of the reasons why it does get so difficult for us, because what they also did, and I don't know, they didn't teach us a great deal about this, but some of the Native Americans had slaves, right? Some of the Native Americans, had a system as well where lighter skin was treated different than darker skin. That's why today, when you look at the Indians, they're all light skinned. You hardly see a black Indian, and we know for a fact they existed.
Well, I'm talking about when we're going to structure reparations, we're going to talk about, especially for black people. I just said antebellum slavery. So I'm tracing it from that point.
Okay.
Now, with Native Americans, what was executed upon them in terms of the Trail of Tears and these kinds of things, there was no African slaves there. There was no African Americans there. That was traced from that point. So if we're talking about reparations, we're talking about retroactive payments, which go back to a specific date and point and this kind of thing. So I'm saying let's start ours at 1865 because that's supposedly the day that the year we were free, right? Now, before that, we came in here, I would say early 1700s.
Wait. You want to start reparations?
No, I want to start them. I'm sorry. I want to start them the day we got off the boats as slaves and we came through Virginia. So we're talking about 1700 something.
Okay.
From that point, now you could stop at 1865 because supposedly that's when we're free.
No.
But you have to keep adding because of Jim Crowism.
Absolutely.
So you got to go, I would say, almost up to 1970. I did a show one time called Free Negroes, and it was about really when did black people really gain any kind of freedom in this country? I said if you was born before 1970, you was not born free. You was born to occupy people. And there's even some question who people would say to me, Kevin, I don't agree because even after 1970, you still ain't free. So that discussion is worth being had, but for the structure of it to eliminate the confusion. To eliminate all the sidebar bullshit, let's do the numbers. Let's do the math. Let's start from the 1700s up to when the Civil Rights Act of 1964 was passed. You still got a whole lot to pay for. The next calculation would be how much is owed. That's another thing that complicates it. And this is what the congressman from South Dakota was saying. it's too much. How do we even figure this up? We can't move it forward because we don't know how to figure it up. But I think there's a systematic way to do it. I think that there's a way it can all be calculated. That's why I said it shouldn't be money. It should be structured in credit forgiveness.
I think one of these you mentioned was $1 billion and land.
There was land and money.
All right. So again,
there was land
it
and
only
money.
Gets complicated when they deal with us. And I want to take a step back further earlier and say that there are a group of people that are of African descent that claim to already have this land, and they claim they want the same reparations that were given to the Native Americans as well, because some will say that they were already here.
Okay, so I'm getting a lot of input from my super chat.
Yes.
Right. So shout out to Wayne Richards, Clearly Clever, and Thomas Radcliffe. He said between 1662 and 1807, Britain shipped 3.1 million Africans across the Atlantic Ocean in the transatlantic slave trade. Yes. Clearly Clever said in 1800 the whole population was only 5.3 million. So they're kind of going back and forth. My brother Wayne said, where did those slaves actually come from? So it's going down in the super chat on YouTube. Yeah. I just wanted to make sure people know because we simulcast. Yeah. So we're live on YouTube and we're live on Facebook as well. So they're having a very interesting discussion over there. And this conversation could go on and on and on and on and on.
And should until we come to a decision and move forward with some action.
And I hope everybody understands that anything worth having is worth working hard for.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't expect the United States to throw their hands up and acquiesce. I would think that that this is something that they're going to try to resist. I mean, you talk about knocking a hole.
Try to resist. They've been resisting.
Well, I'm saying it's going to be continuous. So yes. You said, well, why? I would say, well, naturally, you know why? Because they don't want to give it up.
But again, think about how long we've been owed this money, and think about how many people have gotten paid since then before us.
Yeah, but if you talk about a treaty that was from 1832 and they didn't get paid until 1985, that was a long period of time. And you got to understand, when did Black people actually start to have this conversation? Like for a long time, we wouldn't even. We were held in such regard that we weren't even able to really put it out there. Now HR 40 is the official legislative bill, which was only introduced in 1989. Before that, there was a conversation, but a lot of Black people themselves were saying, nah, that ain't gonna never happen. So I think that it's just now gained enough steam, and now we have enough, dare I say, legislative freedom. I don't know how people out there will feel about me saying legislative freedom. But I think now we have that kind of influence. And with all of once again, we talk about brilliant fools. It's Outlaw Radio on a Saturday night. Number one, I hope you're having a good time.
Yes, sir.
I hope you enjoying the show. And I would hope that you contributed. Shout out to my YouTube page. I can see it from here.
I get to go back and read it later.
The super chat is going down. We got a lot of people in the chat room on Facebook as well. And it's very important that we express ourselves on this topic, right? And I'm not going to spend all night on reparations because we just did a show last Thursday night, F You Pay Me, where we had an extended conversation. I just wanted to make the point that I'm not mad because they try to complicate it. I just say the most important thing to figure out is who it's for. I think it's for American Blacks, and how it should be done is the next discussion. So we've already gotten over who it's for. It's for American Blacks. Now the next discussion is how do we structure it? And then we go from there.
Well, you did make the statement that we just started having this conversation, and I so want to challenge that because I think we have been having the conversations. There have been many brilliant Black people that have been having the conversation. White people refuse to have the conversation. Well, they just now are entertaining us with meetings and a bunch of talk.
When we talk about legislation, though, I mean that makes the conversation.
Well, I'm just does it?
Yeah,
does it?
Because if there's no legislation, ain't shit getting.
Well, here's the thing: some of the people that tried to bring forth legislation got killed.
Well, we don't know. What was that?
We don't know that.
Was that the only thing they got killed for, or was it something else?
It's some things that are too coincidental to be coincidence. Right. When you have brothers like Malcolm start, trying to go to the UN for reparations, when you have and gets killed, when you have a brother like Martin Luther King who said, you know what, next time we come to Washington, we're coming for a check, and he gets killed, you can go, well, oh, what a coincidence. Well, but I don't give them that much play. I know what it is.
Shout out to Thomas Radcliffe. Make sure you subscribe, brother. He says it's just like we said, it's complicated, and it's because of such a vast stretch of history. I think one of the problems is we've been so underrepresented in this country for so long. They pretty much been able to do whatever the hell they want to do for so long that we don't even know. It's just like when you say, who are we or where we come from? We don't have a clue.
And they owe us reparations for that because it's their fault directly that we don't know who we are and where we come from. They directly, intentionally took our religion away from us, our name, our heritage away from us. We got beat for trying to learn or killed for trying to learn about our histories and our ancestors. They're directly responsible for that too. The only thing that makes this thing complicated is they owe us so much money, they could never actually give us what they owe.
Well, that's not the only thing. I think, like I said, I think the structure of it is complicated because you have, first of all, black people amongst themselves have to decide. Because I swear, it's a lot of brothers and sisters who gonna say, "Look, all that shit, give me a check."
And all the motherfuckers that's like, "Well, I don't know. Do we deserve you just for?"
But that's complicated.
It's not though. Just forego your money, right? You don't want reparations, then don't take it.
Well, some people want it, but they want different things from it. I mean, if you got somebody who's older, who's like living off Social Security and they don't have a lot of years left. They don't want the credit repair. They want the money. They're going to say, give me some money so I can get out this damn low-income nursing home.
All right.
So
they should get that.
Right. Well, it's a discussion that has to be had.
Well, again,
shout out to my brother,
money and
Terry. Brother Terry is the owner of 3041 North, 414-810-3131, Milwaukee's premier urban country club. He's checking us out.
Yes, sir.
He's a big supporter of the show. A lot of love for Brother Terry. He has shown me over the years in my little podcasting journey so much love. I always appreciate it. Shout out to my sister, Octavia Emanuel Rice. She's also watching.
Shout out.
Westside Zeladine is in the building checking us out, man. So we get a lot of love from the mill, man.
Oh, man.
And my super chat is popping, so I'm having a good time. It's Outlaw Radio.
All right.
It's Brilliant Fools. We're really the whole show. We get caught up on reparations. And let me explain something to you. A passionate conversation is a passionate conversation.
Agreed.
And I think reparation is one of those polarizing topics that everybody has an opinion about. So if you have an opinion, express your opinion by all means. Just be respectful. Respect the next man. Respect his opinion as well.
That's it.
Because if not, I'm going to tell you something. If two people are yelling at each other, I guarantee you one thing. Neither one of them are listening. So,
and eventually one of them going to get up and leave.
Well, we have to have Outlaw Radio. This is why we have Outlaw Radio, so we can have a platform for us to discuss the things that affect us.
Yes, sir.
That's why I'm not going to talk about Kardashians or Kanye West or what TMZ talks about or none of the Hollywood shit. I got some celebrity stuff for you too.
Look, it's coming.
But I got a bombshell. I got another bombshell for the people who are watching the show, right? Hit like, hit share, hit follow, subscribe to our YouTube page, tell a friend to tell a friend.
Yes.
I hope you appreciate what we're doing. If you got an opinion on reparations, please don't hesitate because my super chat on YouTube is popping right now. I see them over there. They going at it. Shout out to my fellow Hall of Famer, Wayne Richards, over there in the chat room, one of my teammates from North Dakota way back in my cowboy Western days.
All right.
But here's my next bombshell. Now, we'll talk about white supremacy all the time on this show. We talk about white privilege. We talk about the effects of white supremacy and white privilege.
Yes, sir.
Later on, I'm going to talk about the United States really dealing with white nationalism in the United States military right now. We know that white supremacy has penetrated law enforcement in this country.
Absolutely.
We have a serious problem with it. Why do you think so many Gestapo tactics are employed by law enforcement officers in the country towards people of color?
Pink devils wearing blue.
But here's something really controversial, right? Now, like I said, when you get into religion, which black people really have another debate about, religion is one of those polarizing topics as well. What do you believe in? Who do you believe in? All these kinds of things. I used to do a segment on my show called Shout Out to Jesus, where I pay homage to God and thank him for allowing us to exist another week.
Why you stop doing that?
Well, just because I just kind of got away from it. It ain't because I stopped believing in God.
You should do that again.
I should go back to Shout Out to Jesus, right? But people felt some kind of way about it. Well, I did, I used to do Coon of the Week, and I used to do all these great things. If y'all think I should bring any of those segments back, please let me know. I will do it. I'll bring Coon of the Week and Shout Out to Jesus back. But I used to do those.
We could do it in the same segment.
Right, we used to do it. Well, right. See, that's why I stopped doing it, like people like him. Right? So, no, I'm saying the Southern Baptist leadership, the Southern Baptist, it's an entity that controls the Baptist churches, and they govern, I guess, Baptist churches all around the country. A lot of black people are Baptists. I'm here to tell you they had major controversy this week because they came up with some doctrines to address white supremacy that's embedded in Christianity.
Made them white folks mad.
Well, there's a lot of controversy.
Made them mad.
And you would think as a religious organization, you'd automatically dismiss anything that was white supremacy. Or
WWJD.
But I'm going to tell you something about the Southern Baptist Convention. Now, what happened was there used to be a thing that existed in the church amongst Christians called the curse of Ham, right? And supposedly this was religious doctrine that came through Noah.
And they try to say that Ham was cursed. His skin was black, and that was a curse from God.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
But then what they didn't do was read the other 99% of the Bible where it talk about how many people were black, where it talk about, where you can find out the description of Jesus, you know what I mean, so on and so forth. All of these people, if you look at the land they came from, they were black people. Egypt, the people in Egypt were black. So they ignored all of that, and then they found this scripture that they manipulated and made it and built a whole religion behind it. You know what I mean? Around it. So
at one point,
foolishness.
This was used as the church's justification
that Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Black people are inferior to Anglos.
The Amish. Right.
So I thought, it's 2019. This would be easy to kind of shut this down and dismiss this. But lo and behold, they don't want to change they don't want any kind of doctrines that affect white supremacy or white nationalism within the church.
That makes them guilty.
They said it will upset the natural balance of things.
So it's natural for a white person to have a foot on a black person's neck. They think that's natural.
This is
they
also
want to upset that.
This article is also in the People's News
Network.
So go and check it out.
Facebook. Yes, sir.
It's something else. They don't want to talk about basketball and
LeBron James is a Christian. No,
right. Well, they're talking about they're talking about basketball now. So I don't know.
Well, what's up?
Well, it went from reparations to basketball.
Oh, I was gonna say they might know something. Maybe Kawhi signed somewhere.
Because my brother Wayne wants to know. He wants to know where the natives came from. Now, I would have to teach a social studies class because we'll talk about the land bridge and there's people who crossed over and all this kinds of and what was it called, Tanzania?
I say let's do it.
Well, I'm not going to do it tonight.
No, not tonight.
Let me know how y'all feel about them Christians though that don't want to even address. And see, this is another black eye to me for religion, because I try to tell people all the time, you need some religion in your life. You can't. I don't think you can exist out here without believing in something greater than yourself. But the church has so many black eyes, and in particular, the black church has so many black eyes. And I grew up in church. I'm a PK, right? So I was raised on that old down south Mississippi Christian that Jesus is on the main line. Tell him what you want. And I still believe in my heart of hearts that there is a Trinity. But I really look at now how it was taught to us. And then when I see evidence of the slave Bible that was discovered, a couple months ago, and I really question now how it was taught to us, right? I don't want to be another person that's a naysayer about the Bible, but when I see that the Southern Baptists, see, it's like Trump. You can't tell me you racist if you won't disavow yourself from the KKK. I really don't want to hear shit else you got to say after that, because to me, nothing else you says matters. Unless you say, I ain't fucking with the KKK, I'm looking at you like this. You probably a bigot. So I'm looking at the Southern Baptists like, y'all probably some bigots. And there's white people who are the majority of the governance of this. Now they have dues that have to be paid to this organization, and you have some huge black Baptist mega churches. How can you not look at that and say, damn, maybe we need to make an adjustment to it? As loyal as black people have been to the Baptist church, get back, Seth. You got to do a better job of that.
First of all, you mentioned that everybody needs a little religion.
Right.
And first of all, I got to disagree with that wholeheartedly, because if you believe in the Bible, and if there was a man named Jesus, he wasn't teaching religion. As a matter of fact, if you believe the stories in the Bible, his main opponents was the church, was religion. So what you had was religion versus spirituality. So religion has always been a way to control the people. So if you believe in Jesus, the Jesus of the Bible, you'll know that he fought against religion.
Right.
So you can't have it both ways.
No, I still say
you can't. I want to be
no,
like
you
Christ.
said it.
No. So one person, whoever says it, can't on one hand say, I want to be like Jesus and call themselves after his name and that whole thing, and then turn around and do the exact opposite of what he was doing. Whoever said it can't do that. It doesn't make sense.
With the state of the world, I think we need some religion because people do any old kinds of things.
That's the reason for the state of the world.
I don't think they don't have a moral code. So when I look at people's behavior, I think people need something. They need something to believe in. And when I say religion, whether you want to be a Muslim, whether you want to be a Buddhist, whether you want to be a 5% or whatever it is that you subscribe to, I think you have to find some deity to identify with, because I do believe it's very important to believe in something that's bigger than yourself. Because I think you have to look at certain things and say, well, that was a miracle. And in order to say that was a miracle, you have to be able to say who's responsible for it. Or maybe you don't.
You don't.
It's just my humble opinion. Like I said, I believe.
Yes, sir.
I believe.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That doesn't mean you should go join the church just because Kevin said it.
But not what I believe, but what the fact of the matter is how many millions of people have been killed, how many wars, how many people have been raped, and cities have been trampled, and knowledge and churches and libraries have been burned down in the name of religion. Right?
Well, people been killed pretty much in the name of everything. I know some women.
No, but we're not talking about. But we're talking about religion. I
know some gangs that done got some cities burned down.
And we're talking about religion, though. Right. And I guarantee you, none of the
put that all over.
Well, again, it's Googleable. It's researchable. How many?
Did you just make up a word?
The Crusades, the Christian Crusades.
I got $10 for anybody who could spell Googleable.
Googleable.
Right. I dare you to spell Googleable in the chat room.
We know how many people the Muslims kill. Right. It's all over religion. So no, I disagree.
Let me know how y'all feel though, because I know a lot of people out there who were raised Baptist who maybe still attend the Baptist church. Especially when you done been out all Saturday night kicking in, you done been filthy.
Now you need forgiveness.
Go and say, let me go get God some of my time. Let me know how y'all feel about the Southern Baptists refusing to address white supremacy and white nationalism and actually trying to hold on tight to that curse of Ham that I just talked about. Once again, we talk about brilliant fools. Listen, it does you no good to be intelligent if you don't have common sense. You see what I'm saying? Like, you can be as smart as you want and read all the books you want, but if you don't have common sense, you're pretty much still dumb as a rock, right?
I agree. Yes, sir.
You can have all the accolades that you want and say, well, I'm a doctor of, and I'm a professor of, but if you don't have people skills, like if you're more concerned about business and money than you are about people, then I question your motivation. I question your tactics, because I think you have an issue. Because really what it's about is how you treat your fellow man, how you relate to your fellow person. So like I can have all this money and be an asshole to people, and I'm karma's gonna probably come back around. And I don't even got to tell you what and who karma is, right?
No, you should know him personally.
Right. You should know.
You know what I'm saying, right? But yeah, back in the day, we used to call that the golden rule, right? Treat others how you want to be treated.
Right. So go and check that out, man. If you go to church, talk to your parishioner and let them know, like, hey, I really have a problem with the fact that the Baptist church won't come up with governance to kind of deal with white nationalism and white privilege and white supremacy. I have an issue with that. Just as a PK, I have an issue with it because, they paint the picture of people who go to church as passive slaves in the first place. So if you go and you look and you find out, wait a minute, this religion we've been dealing with all these years won't even address white privilege and white supremacy? Well, that's kind of bad.
I do want to remind everybody that whether you're a Baptist, whether you're a Church of God in Christ, whether you're Pentecostal, Lutheran, if you call yourself a Christian, it's all a derivative of the Roman Catholic Church. So you can't be surprised when you see racism in it. That's where it comes from.
Well, it's racism everywhere. So I don't know. Catholic Church, Jewish Church, Black Church.
I think anytime you
Kirk Franklin just came out and said they running the LGBTQ people out of church because of the hate. I don't even know how you feel about that.
I think anytime you use a word, absolute word, like everywhere, it's false. So I don't believe that there's racism everywhere.
I believe it's racism, man.
I believe that there's a place that exists where there's no
racism.
Yes, where there's no white people. Yes. That would be where there's no white people, there's no racism.
Well, that would be fine until you factor in that there's tribal wars with black on black tribes, in which They engage in.
It's not about race.
Well, I'm Rwandan, you're Tutsi.
That's not race.
It's tribalism.
Right.
The
tribalism is not racism.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know everything. I don't know everything.
Me neither. That's why sometimes somebody gonna say something on the chat room, and I'm gonna be like, I never thought about it like that.
Amanda Osayande is in the super chat on YouTube.
What's going on?
She said they too busy loving on everybody, so they turn the other cheek to white supremacy. And I'm thinking she's addressing the Baptist church.
Oh, loving on everybody.
Right. She said they loving on everybody.
Amen.
Right, black people. And is that one of our problems is people? Like a lot of people think black people are too forgiving. A lot of people have said the biggest issue we have as a race is that we spend too much time trying to love those who don't love us. We spend too much time trying to live with those who don't want us around them.
Trying to eat at their lunch counter.
Is that one of our problems?
Trying to go to their schools, trying to sleep in their hotels, trying to drink from their bubblers. How has that worked out for us so far?
I always thought that one of the biggest issues that we kind of like dropped the ball on with the civil rights movement, I just don't think we fought for empowerment enough.
We did.
It seemed like it was more or less about inclusion,
integration,
so that we just didn't really fight for financial empowerment. Because you got to understand, at the same time when we were trying to like go in their stores and ride at the front of their buses, they were redlining us. They were drawing up maps that were based on race that they could put us in these ghettos, or what the ghettos became, for years to come. Mm-hmm. Like we weren't paying attention because we were so busy trying to walk with them and sing peaceful songs while they threw rocks at us and kicked our ass.
And we could have been building our own hotels and our own restaurants.
And I don't like to criticize the civil rights movement because I believe they were our forefathers, and I think
hindsight is 2020.
That they fought very hard.
Yes.
And I think they made great sacrifices for us.
I agree, yes.
And a lot of them sacrificed their lives.
We wouldn't be here.
But there were some issues that I personally, once again, I'm just one man.
Yes,
that's why I do a show, because I like to hear everybody's opinion. I don't think, and Brother Jason don't agree with me, I don't believe there's such thing as a wrong opinion. If it's your opinion and you feel that way, I don't think it's wrong. I think that maybe sometimes you need to go and do some research on your opinion, and then you come back and say, well, I'm going to change that. I'm not going. But if you believe something, you believe it, right? So
even if it's wrong,
that's your belief, right? So
there's something called the ultimate truth, right?
Right. Well,
that means something actually did or did not happen. Now, whether you believe it did or did not happen does not change the fact whether it happened or not, right? So you can be wrong. I don't give a damn for sure, but if it's researchable and you can research it and it changes, it's different from what your opinion is is wrong.
A lot of people say that. I say you're free to believe whatever you want to.
And I tell you all the time, people got the right to be wrong.
Right. And he does say that all the time.
That's real.
He says it all the time. I also want to talk about something that's important tonight that I think we got to give a lot more attention to.
Yes, sir.
I kind of like look over this because I'm not engaged in this kind of thing, but sex trafficking in this country is such a problem that they said the theory right now is that there's between 100 and 150,000 underage sex workers in the United States right now. Mm-hmm. Now, this is another article out of the People's News Network that I put up in the People's News Network.
Yes, sir.
About sex trafficking becoming big business.
Oh, just becoming.
Well, no,
no. I'm with you. I'm just talking shit.
So the biggest thing we got to look at is there are a lot of large, like highly statured, rich people right now, rich men who willfully engage in sexual activities with underage females, whether it be
males,
whether it be dealing with hookers or whether it be because, like, if you go to the strip club and there's underage dancers in there, that's in itself a form of sex trafficking, right?
It is.
So, like, if you're watching porn on your computer and there's underage models in the videos, that's sex trafficking. Those are underage sex workers. So a lot of money and a lot of time and a lot of effort is being injected into this sex trafficking thing in the United States. And like right now I'm starting to look at, because I have a daughter, and I'm like, I would never ever want her to be forced into some sort of sex worker role.
Any father's absolute worst nightmare.
Right, because they say your job is to keep her off the pole. Right. So I'm wondering what kind of measures I think most importantly is maybe we need to start looking into some of these influential people who engage in a lot of this behavior and only get a slap on the wrist And I'm not necessarily harping on the Catholic Church because I seen it on the tip of Jason's tongue. He was going to say, the Catholic Church, brother. Right?
Not that time.
It's not just
it was coming, though. It was coming.
Not just the Catholic Church who engages in this.
No, it ain't just them. They're just the most wealthy and most powerful and influential.
Well, you got corporate America is pretty large and powerful in itself. And a lot of corporate America is.
You sound like a conspiracy theorist
because
right
they
now.
go. Well, we know that is it a conspiracy to know that they go to exclusive parties and they have exclusive societies and exclusive. And I'm not hollering Illuminati. I'm saying that they have exclusive practices in which, who knows. And a lot of these rich businessmen employ services.
It takes
that
money,
utilize young girls,
and it takes money, power, and influence to keep that sort of thing exclusive. Right.
Yeah.
So we know this.
And we live in Milwaukee, and Milwaukee is entirely a city that is plagued by sex trafficking. It's one of the hubs.
It's a hub. Yeah.
I think Milwaukee is really easy to do it because if you're rich and white and powerful in this city, you can pretty much do whatever you want for a long period of time and not get called on it.
Yeah, we protect those.
But I'm wondering, what do we need to do to combat this? And y'all give me some ideas. Because I hate to even think about little girls being, and in some cases, little girls getting snatched off the streets, man. And, it's a sick thing.
And listen, any one of y'all that got daughters, listen, the gut-wrenching feeling just to imagine something like that. But the ones of you that got young boys, listen, they fair game too to some of these perverts. Like, pay attention. And where are our black city and state officials with a plan to deal with this sort of thing? Like, you conspicuously quiet about this, right? So we want to hear what you're going to do about it as well, right. Especially before we elect your ass again.
Right. And that's the biggest thing is, like I said, is the name of the show tonight was Outlaw Radio, Brilliant Fools, because I believe we elect a lot of people and that you can't really justify their reelection. I said this last week. 2020 is coming, which is an election year.
Yes.
My method this year is to vote for everybody who's not an incumbent. I can't think of anybody downtown on the Common Council who deserves my vote.
And since things are popping in the chat room, somebody tell us one person that deserves to be reelected. Tell us one city or state official that done a really brilliant, bang-up job for the black community.
I'd vote for Lena Taylor.
Okay, listen, and that's why I said I wasn't saying there's none. I want to hear them.
I'd vote for Lena.
You know what? I would vote for Lena as well.
I think Lena's her proactiveness about issues and being out and about amongst the community warrants her to deserve my vote. Like people,
and the transparency,
right? She's very transparent. Even about her bipartisanship, right? She's very transparent.
So I asked that the question was legitimate. I wasn't trying to prove a point. If there's somebody else that we're missing that's doing something for the black community, tell us who it is. So when I go on my rant, I can exclude them.
And if you are out there and you're an elected official, feel free to hit me up because I would love to have you on the show.
Yeah, you tell us what you're doing.
Tell us what you did, bro. Tell us what you
and
did.
We want to know why we still end up on the wrong side of these lists every year.
Right.
Maybe you got an explanation for it.
Right. Now, I don't know. My brother, we talk about politicians and we talk about a new way to govern ourselves in this country. My brother Scarface, Brad Jordan, a.k.a. Scarface, is running for the city council in Houston.
I would vote for that, Texas. Brother. Yes, sir.
I'd vote for him, too, because he says he wants to run on a platform, a new style of government. Because he wants to address issues that affect the citizens. But one of the most important things he said is he wants to invest the children and the young people down in Texas. He wants them to invest in technical education because he wants to look out for the kids that don't go off to college, the kids that don't go to school. Now, I've said here on this show a million times, we need to invest in vocational education.
Absolutely.
Very important.
There's money in carpentry and masonry, and there's money in being a plumber right now.
Everybody not going to go to Hill.
It's money in being an electrician. It's money in those things, That's where it's at. Yeah, absolutely.
And a lot of people in Milwaukee argue with me all the time and say, Kevin, you saying don't vote for the incumbent, but who are the candidates? Who should I be voting for? Maybe we should get to know
and that's a good point.
Identify new candidates.
Those are good questions, yes.
I'm working with my brother Chris Johnson. Shout out to Kingfish MKE, brother Chris Johnson.
Yes, sir.
He's going to give me a list of everybody who's running. As usual, we'll have alternatives to the incumbents.
I love it.
And we'll talk about them
This is
on the show.
Solution-based radio.
Right. We talk about a lot of the problems, but we also like to talk about some possible solutions.
We have to.
Which is why I ask people for their input on the show in the first place.
Yes, yes.
Because it can't just be all about, and believe me, I don't know everything. I like to think I'm a pretty well-informed brother, but I don't know everything. Nor would I want to. It would make me a very dangerous man, and it'd probably put a very large price on my head. So I'd rather engage in a collaborative effort than try to pretend that I'm the all. See, that is one of the problems with our leaders, too. They can never admit their weaknesses. They can never admit where they can. See, if you can't admit where you need to improve at,
you'll never improve.
You'll never improve.
Why fix yourself if nothing is ever your fault?
So if you can't turn around to your constituents and say, listen, I am so sorry. I did not get it done with these jobs. I'm going to do a better job. Here's my plan to improve that. Instead of that, you try to spin us and tell us, well, I did work on them jobs. I got some jobs. And that was Scott Walker's thing where he gave us a number. And year after year, we said, you ain't getting them jobs, bro. They ain't coming. It ain't happening. And Scott would never admit that he didn't have the jobs. He kept trying to spin it and spin it and spin it. Then they spent his ass right out of office. And that's what's going to happen to a lot of our elected officials.
Down to downtown Milwaukee to camp out right next to all the people he screwed.
Well, he's somewhere living good in Milwaukee right now.
That's what white people do.
Well, I think that's what people do once they get away with the money, or as the kids say, once they secure the bag.
Well, they secure more of the bag than we do.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Believe that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. As a black leader, I question all the time, how can you not look at yourself and say, damn, I'm just screwing this all up. With the income disparities, with the achievement gaps in the schools, even in Milwaukee, with the home ownership disparities. Like, we have so many issues with the infant mortality rate, the water, the quality of life, the streets. And you can sit there and honestly say you deserve to be reelected?
Give yourself a raise, take that under the table envelope and take your family on vacation and don't have no problems with it. You a devil too.
I just so happen to disagree. And I think you shouldn't be reelected. I think we should get rid of you as soon as possible.
Absolutely.
It's just once again, it's my personal opinion.
And if it was a job that paid $15, $20 an hour, like working people have to do, Some of these people wouldn't even be interested in that position at all.
Well, hell no, I don't pay enough.
But that's what I'm saying. They don't want to work like real people. But let me tell you, we're going to always
sit through all these long ass meetings for that little amount of money.
We're going to always have this problem as long as we keep electing rich people to handle poor people problems. That's how they got rich in the first place, on the backs of poor people. Yes, you black officials too.
I don't disagree. Shout out to 3041 North, man. Hit them up. Get on their calendar. They got events popping off. Pick up KT Killingham's project. Get with the Get Motivated, Get Healthy Facebook group with Miss Serena Brown. Get with Black Nurses Rock, man. Support my brother Kamar Carter. He's on WNOV right now.
The family's growing. The family is growing. The family growing.
Well, yeah,
Sound Silhouette. What's up?
Silhouette.
Yeah. DAMG. Yeah. The family's growing.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And like I said, all you got to do is give me a little support. I give you a whole lot back.
For sure.
But I did want to say, it's award season, and I'm not. I'm one of those pessimistic people. I don't really believe in award. I don't watch awards programs. So I was looking for some kind of input on the BET Awards because people tell me this is one you should support, Kevin. And even though BET is no longer owned by black people.
So I would ask why. Why is this something that we should support when it's again, it's hijacked by them?
Well, it's a platform supposedly for people of color.
But it's still it's owned by them. Until we get our own shit.
I don't disagree. I look for people's input on it because I'm always saying, people say, oh, did you see so-and-so? I say, nah. Oh, so-and-so lit up the red carpet. I ain't see it because I don't watch it. If celebrities have just the gall, as Stephen A. Smith would say, the unmitigated gall to ask me to buy their record, to go to their concerts, to buy their clothing lines, and then you want me to watch you get an award too. Like, it's like, how much adulation do you actually want? Like, damn. Like, okay, enough is enough.
Celebrity worship.
Right. So, and we have a bad situation in America. We have a really sick situation with celebrity worship. And I also say in America, we have an issue with the fact that we got supposedly right now more black billionaires than ever. So we should not be without anything. The black community should be having its way. Hell, we have enough black billionaires and millionaires in this country to hire the coldest legal team in the world to go to work and get this reparation shit done. We can formulate a think tank for your ass right now to say who's going to get it, how we going to do it, when we going to do it. That should be done. So don't ask me to watch you get an award or go see your latest movie. I'll watch your shit bootleg. I will not go to the theater or none of that until y'all get together. Because why? And then, but when it's Academy Award or Oscar time, you fall up in there with your dress to the nines and you so happy. Thank you, thank you. And I'm like, once again, we have enough to create our own system and our own studios. Why do we crave the approval of the other side so much? I think that's one of the mental hurdles that has prevented us from getting reparations. Just that, I love you so much. So it's like, we ain't asking you, should we have reparations? We're not asking you, should the income disparities be handled? We're not asking, we demanding that these things be handled. I think we got to get away from asking for so much and start demanding.
But I also think that we need to pay attention, right, when we have brothers and sisters that do try to demand or try to ask. So you talked about the award shows, and I'm gonna admit totally I'm out of the loop. I haven't watched an award show since The Color Purple didn't get an award, and I was done. Right?
Damn.
Real talk. So I don't know.
I think I might have been in 4th grade. This brother ain't watched an award show in a long time.
Listen, yeah.
Wow.
So, but as long as it's there.
And on that note, beverage.
So I'm out of the loop, man. But until we get our own shit, I just don't see it working. Like they always in control. We kiss an ass for they accolades, for they pat on the head, they pat on the back to say they did that, for them to say we did good, right? For them to validate us. And I just don't think that's the way to go about it.
No doubt, man. No doubt. It's Outlaw Radio, Brilliant Fools on a Saturday night, man. I hope you're having a good time. Let us know where you're going tonight. Let us know what you're going to be getting into. You never know. Brothers might show up. We've been known to bum rush. I was
going to say, we done stepped out a few times.
We've been known to bust television places, and kick it, man, and have a good time.
It usually works out, too.
One of the things I love to see black people party, because nobody parties like black people.
Hey.
And I love to see us. I love to go somewhere where it's laughter and music and people having a good time.
Look like a rap video.
Even with some good, if you got to play some old people. That's why I party with old black people.
Hey,
because they usually don't get to fight.
They dress. First of all, they dressed up, right? They don't want to get their suit up. You know what I'm saying?
This is my Easter suit.
They playing spades and talk and bones, man, and it's all good.
And I see that I watch hip hop. I watch a lot of hip hop stuff because.
He's a snob.
I'm the hip hop snob, and I got to get back to my segment, the hip hop snob, which I haven't done in a while, which I just discussed the latest issues in hip hop. But I thought, last week I think Miley Cyrus, she had come out and she had apologized because she had made some really negative remarks about hip hop. About hip hop had become too materialistic and it was just so misogynistic, and she was going to step away from it. But she did this after she made a great deal of money off of the music. She did this after she came out with the goal and she put this image on and she got a lot of status behind it. Then she came out and criticized it, and then now she apologized for that. It says she didn't mean it like that. She's really into Kendrick and J. Cole and some of the more creative youngsters right now that's doing the music. But Nicki Minaj came out this week and called her Purdue chicken. She said she has the appeal of raw Purdue chicken. And she said it's fine for her to come out now and try to apologize, but she needs to shut up because I caught her with the producer, Mike Will, in the studio, giving him some shots.
Let me say, listen, first of all, I feel sorry for her father.
Right.
Because along with all of that, she was talking when she left Disney and she got done with all of that, she was on a few sites taking some BBC.
Well, allegedly. I don't have proof that was her. I don't know. If you don't know what that is, it's the British Broadcasting Corporation, right? That's what BBC is. As far as I know. I don't know anything about what BBC is.
Yeah, that's it.
Let me know if you're in the chat room and you know what it is.
That's it.
I used to watch a lot of children's programs.
So she got used around. She's nobody that garners my respect at all. So, Yeah, good for her.
Right. Go Miley. Go.
Right.
You got something on your thing you had tonight?
No, let me tell you, man. Listen, I had a few, but it was from the People's News Network, man. So we ended up talking about a lot of that, man. What about the post in there about in Mississippi, the gangster disciples? They trying to say that supposedly got a hit out on the police, right?
Right.
Let me tell you, that's bad news. Right, because that's news they put out before they come slaughter you.
Exactly. You know what? I would say,
and I'm saying this to my brothers and sisters out there. Listen, be careful, man.
Right. Be smart. Don't be stupid.
Be careful. I know you ain't no punk, you ain't no bitch and all that, but we want you to still live. And I'm telling you, that's the type of shit they talk about, and they assassinate your character before they treat you like a Black Panther.
And before you even engage in these kinds of conversations, you better know what room you in. You better know where you at.
Hello.
Because I'm guaranteeing you, it's eyes and ears. The fans do not play.
They listening to us.
Right. They have a 90% success rate.
They're listening to us right now.
Right. And I'm sure that they listen to us when we're not on the air.
All right.
But it's all good for me because you just practice it. Because there's nothing subversive about me. There's nothing. I'm not. First of all, I don't encourage people to burn anything. I think we need to be no, I really believe this. I think we need to be engaged in a revolution of the mind. I think we need to change the way we think and how we feel about things, because I believe right now we are not prepared for any kind of armed confrontation.
No.
So I would never tell Black people to go burn it down.
But at the same time, keep your arms, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Don't make it easy.
If you are a legally responsible citizen with no felonies, no DVs, and no child molestation cases, and no mental health, I think you should exercise your right to bear arms extensively. I think the more you got, the better off you are.
And if you are a police officer and all you had was 6 months training, I think you're not equipped to deal with what goes on in the streets. I know telemarketing jobs that take more training than that.
Right. Well, we had this issue this week with the police that passed, and the young brother, 31 years old, has been charged now officially with the homicide of the officer who died. I don't know that they've caught the brother, the ones, I didn't say brothers. I don't know if they've caught the individuals who shot the cop in Racine. Say my racist ass, right?
Hey.
But there was a shooting in Mount Pleasant in which a young brother was gunned down. And I see my brother Tory Lowe going at that real hard. And I haven't really got involved.
And shout out to Tory. What's up?
Shout out to Tory Lowe, who's a friend of the show.
For sure.
I got to hit Tory up and get some info on that because I want to expand on it.
So I'm going to come back on the show and talk about
what that's about. Yeah. I know Tory got like a show now. He's on the show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's doing a bunch of shit.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Right.
I ain't been keeping up.
I hit Tory on the phone to say, bro, check this out.
Yeah.
So, and we'll see, but just because I want to throw support behind it.
Yeah.
I seen that the Panthers were there again today protesting. What is it called? The food fair, the food store on 25th.
Some food store where the 13-year-old boy,
where the brother was beat with the bat.
Supposedly was savagely and viciously beaten with a bat.
Yeah. My main thing is, why don't we just stop shopping? See, protest after protest after protest after protest in a community where the kid who was beaten is from, right? Why don't we just stop going? Let's just shut them down. I'm not saying you don't need a store, but let's demand that the current owners sell the store and move on.
They're going to sell it to their nephew.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well,
and nothing really changes. Right. It'll be the same people in the store. The title on the deed change. That's about it. Here's the thing. Until Black people decide they're going to stop spending money at this, there's people going in that store while the Panthers was protesting.
All the time.
So until the thing's going to have to be done financially.
Right.
The people are going to have to be willing to walk an extra block, an extra 2 blocks to go to a different store. Just because that store is in your community don't mean it's good for your community, right? So until the people realize this, like it's not going to be done. It's just show. It's a song and dance until the people commit financially. That's the only way it's going to work. And if you open your eyes and look around, there are other cities and other states where this actually works, where there's solidarity, there's unity. There's a common unity in the community. We don't have that here. Until we get it here, all of that is just song and dance.
Right. I just believe, like, once again, and we talk about something that should come from reparations. I think small business loans is one of those things.
Especially in our own communities.
Right. We should be able to really do business. And if there's the side effect to integration, one of the biggest side effects is that we abandon our own businesses.
We absolutely
because we were in such a hurry to go to their stores that we stopped going our own. We were in such a hurry to integrate with them that we stopped investing in our own. The black dollar stays in the community at less time than any other race.
And I heard a Jewish person say if they can go into a Jewish store and a bottle of wine costs $50, or they can go into a black liquor store and it costs $5, they will go buy that $50 bottle of wine because they know that $50 will stay in their community.
Sounds about right to me.
And we have yet to figure that out or give a damn.
Right. Can somebody tell me who the hell the Bucks drafted? I still don't know. I looked at the NBA draft and everything was trade. And I looked at Zion Williamson, who's 18 years old, and RJ Barrett, who's 18.
Got the world in their hand right now.
And these brothers are about to go and make these teams billions of dollars. And they got the weight of the world on their shoulders.
But at least they ain't in college no more. They can actually get a check.
Pimped, right?
They ain't getting pimped and used.
So more shout out to them.
Well, not as much.
And I wish both of them brothers success, man.
Yes.
I do.
Yes.
But it's just so much pressure to put on a 19-year-old kid. I realize it's just a sport. It ain't like you asking them to solve reparations or nothing.
Right.
But I just think it's a lot of pressure.
LeBron did it. He had a lot of pressure coming out of high school.
And LeBron's his hairline is paid the price.
Like he's been president for 8 years.
He got a drop top in the top of his head.
But he won't drop it, right?
Well, no, man, because he got to restore it now. LeBron got enough money to get it. You plant me some new hair.
No, and that's why I don't believe none of these hair, commercials. Because I'm going, much money as LeBron got. If it was a way to get your hair back, he'd have did it.
Right. Well, he's got it back. Supposedly it's restored.
Well, can you tell him to call Kevin Durant? Because he got something going on with this.
Kevin Durant got bigger fish to fry right now. Shout out to everybody who's watching the show, man.
Shout out, y'all.
I'm going to let you get out of here.
Man.
I do say once again, I say this every week. People might disagree with me. Jada Pinkett was oversharing again this week. Now she was in the third. You know what? Just don't bring your daughter on. If you're going to talk about
it does make it awkward, right? Yeah.
Now she was in a threesome, but she really didn't like it, and it's just, every week is something.
What about the second time? Did she like it?
I don't know. She said she only did it once. She said she was very, very young when she did it.
How you do it? Give out, chat.
Right. I don't know. Jada, I mean, it gets views, and some people like that. My sister Coop said who's here.
Yeah.
Shout out to Coop. She said she likes her openness, and it helps her understand how to talk. I can if I gotta have a discussion about sex and sexuality with my children, I'm probably gonna leave out the detail of me being in the threesome. I'm probably gonna leave that part out.
Well, until they start telling you about their experience in the threesome,
that's when I'd stop them because I don't want to know that, especially if I got a daughter. I do
go talk to your mama. Go tell your mama.
I have no desire to hear about those kinds of exploits. Jada be oversharing, but I guess that's just the way of the world nowadays.
Man, it's a different place, brother. Me and you got some different ideas that come from way back, yo.
Well, my parents last dying breed.
Yeah, PK.
I was raised by some old Southern soldiers, man.
Yeah.
So my ideologies and methodologies, right, might be a little bit different. You can go back and watch the show. Please subscribe to my YouTube page. I get a lot of friend requests daily, and I see a lot of those people tune in to the show. So I appreciate you.
Yes.
Whether you came in and watched 5 minutes or you watched the whole show, go back and watch it. Our shows, one thing I notice about our shows is we get a lot of views after the fact.
Which
I also appreciate.
Which is good.
So labor of love, but it's damn sure labor.
Yeah.
It took me a long time to hook all this shit up down here. Y'all trust me. I'm joking.
No, you ain't.
I've been at this for a long time, man. And this is what I love to do. Yeah. And I would encourage anybody else, if you got something that you love to do, go ahead and do it. Because they say the thing that'll get you paid eventually that's going to be fulfilling to you is the thing that you love so much that you're willing to do it for free. And I love to run my mouth, and I love to have conversations and initiate conversations, because I think it's like Tupac said, I might not change the world, but I might spark the mind that does.
Cut that too. Yeah.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say the first episode of the Warrior Report will happen this week. I'm gonna go out on a limb to say that. I'm also gonna go out on a limb and say I'll have Gigolo Jackson here next week.
Speaking into existence.
Right.
Hey.
I don't know what else to go out on a limb for. Give me something else to go out on a limb for.
We're going to be back Thursday.
Right. Well, no, we'll be back Thursday, one way or another. Keep the conversation going about reparations, man.
Man, solution-based radio. Y'all come in with some ideas. We can't think of everything.
Be accountable, man. No matter what you do, be accountable. And let's be informed voters, and let's build some momentum towards 2020.
Yes.
And like I said, I'm against the incumbents. I don't think anybody down there can justify why they should be reelected. If you do, or if you feel like you can think of a reason why anybody down, I think it's time for fresh blood. I think it's time for new people downtown, because they've been down there for a long time, and the city is still shitty. With that said, have a good weekend. Be safe. Keep your head on the swivel. I hope you get everything you want, but I hope you want everything you get. I will see y'all next week.
Peace.